Welcome, everyone. Let's begin our lesson for today by going over the learning goals and success criteria. First, what are we learning? We're learning how to find the mean, median, and mode of a set of data, the range of a set of data, and to recognize and remove any outliers from a set of data, as well as how to create intervals for data sets based on the amount of data and frequency of values, how to create a frequency table, how to convert a frequency table into a histogram, how to find the quartiles of a set of data, and how to create a box and whisker plot. How are we learning it? Through the statistics review notes and the statistics review assignment. When can we use this information? To find the average number of products that are sold by a company in order to predict sales rates and revenue, and to predict the likelihood of certain events occurring by applying the existing frequency of the event to future predictions. How do you know you learned it? By getting a score of 4 on the statistics review assignment. Now let's take a look at our agenda for today. We will begin by going over the learning goals and success criteria. While we do that, you'll fill out your Get It Started and submit your statistics study guide. Once you've completed your Get It Started, we'll go over together and answer any questions that you may have. After that, we'll go over the statistics review notes, and I'll give you time to complete the statistics review assignment. Once you've completed the assignment, we'll go over together and answer any questions that you may have. At the end of class, we'll go back over our learning goals and success criteria while you fill out your before you go. Your only homework for tonight is to work on any incomplete assignments that you may have. Let's take a look now at the statistics review notes. The notes begin with the learning goals and success criteria. How do we organize data? Well, first thing you need to do is collect your data. So get the data in. So always when you collect your data, arrange it from least to greatest. So whatever values you get, make sure that you put them in order from least to greatest. This will allow you to draw conclusions more easily. Then use your data to draw your conclusions. So let's look at an example here. These are results from a couple years ago. So this is the win totals for the Western Conference. So we're going to find the mean. And another way to say mean is the average. So we're going to find the average of the number of wins. So to calculate the mean, the first thing we do is add up all the total. And then once we've added them all up, we're going to divide by how many values are in the data set. So if we look here, we're going to take this win column and we're going to add all these together. So 49 plus 44 plus 43 plus 41 plus 40 plus 40 plus 40. So we add all 7 of those up. And when we add them all together, we end up with 297. So that's our total number of wins. Then to find the average, we're going to divide that by how many numbers we included. Well, we included 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we divide 297 divided by 7, and we get 42.4. So the average number of wins in the Western Conference is 42.4 wins. Let's look at another example. These are the TV ratings for ABC. So again, we're going to add up the totals and then divide by the number of values in the set. So here, we're going to look at the number of millions of viewers. So 6.238 plus 5.784 plus 6.496 plus 4.497 plus 4.169. So we add all those together, and we end up with 27.166. And then we're going to divide that by the number of shows that were included. So we included 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we divide this by 5, and we get 5.433. So this is the average ratings for a show on ABC. So this is the average number of viewers for a show on ABC. Now median. So the median is the middle. So what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our values, and we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. And then we're going to start crossing out one number on each side till we reach the middle. So we take our win totals here, and we're going to arrange them from least to greatest. So they're already in order. They're just from greatest to least, so we just flip them. So it goes 40, 40, 40, 41, 43, 44, 49. So we took our numbers and put them in order from least to greatest. Then we start crossing out one on each side. So we're going to cross out 40 and 49. So there's our first one. Then we cross out 40 and 44. Then we cross out 40 and 43. And what we're left with is 41. So the median number of wins for the Western Conference is 41 wins. Now let's take a look if there's an eighth team that was added in here. So again, we put them in order from least to greatest and then start crossing them out. So now we do that. 32, 40, 40, 40, 41, 43, 44, 49. And we start crossing them out. So 32 and 49, 40 and 44, 40 and 43. Now we're left with two numbers in the middle. So if we cross them both out, then everything's crossed out. So we just leave these two numbers, and then we're going to find the average of these two numbers. Remember, the average is like the mean. So we're going to add these two numbers together and then divide by the two numbers that we're looking at. So we take 40 and 41, and we add them together, and we get 81. Then we're going to divide it by 2 because we're trying to find the average of just these two numbers here. So we divide it by 2, and we get 40.5. So 40.5 is our median. Now mode. Mode is the most common. So it's the number that comes up the most often. So we put them in order from least to greatest and then find the number that occurs the most. So we take our win total again. There we go, 40, 40, 40, 41, 43, 44, 49. Well, we can see that 40 occurs 3 times, 41 occurs once, 43 occurs once, 44 occurs once, and 49 occurs once. So the only one that occurs multiple times is this one. So 40 is my mode. Now let's look at this one. So we're back to our ABC viewership. So again, we're going to put them in order from least to greatest and then figure out which one occurs most. So we got 4.169, 4.479, 5.784, 6.238, and 6.496. We should notice that there's none of them that occur more than once, so therefore there is no mode. Now, if there's more than one number that occurs multiple times, the same number of times, then you could have more than one mode. So you could say that 2 and 3 are your mode if they both occur the same number of times. But if one occurs more than the other, then you just go with whatever one occurs the most. Now, range. The range is a way to say the lowest and the highest values. So to find the range, you put them in order from least to greatest and then state the lowest number and the highest number. So here we take our win total, put them in order from least to greatest. Our lowest number is 40. Our highest number is 49. So we'd say our range is from 40 to 49. Outliers. So outlier is another way to say a number that doesn't make sense, meaning it's a number that doesn't fit in with the rest of the data. So if I had a bunch of numbers and they were all bigger than 100 and then I had -6, well, -6 doesn't fit in that set of data at all. So to find outliers, you put them in order from least to greatest and then pick out any numbers that don't fit. So if we take our win totals here, well, we have 40, 40, 40, 41, 43, 44, 49, and then we have this 15. Well, 15 is a long way away from the rest of the totals. So we'd say 15 is an outlier because it doesn't fit the data. Now, again, we take our point totals. We have 40, 40, 40, 41, 43, 44, and 49, and they're all really close to each other. So if there's nothing that really stands out, it's not really far away, then don't call it an outlier. Only call it an outlier if it's very, very obvious that it's way away from everything else. So in this one, we'd say there's no outliers. So even though 49 is a little further away than the rest of these from each other, it's not that far away. So we'll go ahead and keep it and call it not an outlier. Now there's a video here for you to watch on how you can check your work when working with mean, median, and mode using Symbol Lab. So go ahead and watch that video now. Let's take a look now at how we can use Symbol Lab to check our work when dealing with mean, median, and mode. So let's say we're given a data set and we want to find the mean. Well, we're going to go to Symbol Lab, and then we're going to go to the mean, median, mode calculator, and then we're going to type in what we want. Let's say we want the mean. So we type in mean, and then we just start typing our data set. 1, 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. So let's say that's our data set. We go ahead and click go. It tells us now exactly what our mean is. Our mean for this set would be 5.125. And it shows us exactly how to get there. So how it added them all up, they added up to be 41. We divided it by the 8 number of terms in the set, And when we did that, we got 5.125. So that's how you find the mean. Let's say we want the median of that set. We can change this to say median. We go ahead and click go. And it tells us that the median is 5. And it arranged it from least to greatest here and shows us where it would be. It would be between 4 and 6, which is 5. Now let's say we wanted the mode. We go ahead and change this to say mode. Click go. And it tells us that the mode is 1 because that is the one that appears the most often. And it shows us the counts here. So 1 appears twice, all the others appear once. So this is how you can use Symbolab to check your work when trying to find the mean, median, and mode of a set of data. Now let's take a look at frequency tables. Frequency tables show how many values in the data set fall within a particular interval. So intervals are small sets that are created within the data set. Okay, notice that when we create a frequency table, all the intervals must be the same size. So we can't have an interval that goes from 0 to 10 and then from 11 to 55. Okay, that doesn't work. So this is what a frequency table looks like. So we have an interval here, right? So obviously our data set goes from at least 40 to 74. So that's a pretty big span. So we break it up into smaller parts so we can see. So from 40 to 44, there were 2 data points that fell within that range. Then from 45 to 49, there were 4 that fell within that range, and so on. So we can calculate how many fell into each range. Now, what is a histogram? Histograms are bar graphs that represent the data previously presented in frequency tables. So once you've created your frequency table, you can then put it into a graph form. So just like the frequency tables, we're going to use intervals, and those are small sets of data that are created within the data set, and all of the intervals must be the same size. And this is what a histogram will look like. So let's take a look at an example of this. So we have a table here. This represents all of the shows on ABC. And first thing we're going to do is put them in order from least to greatest. And we're going to go by this demographic here. So we put these all in order from least to greatest. And this is them in order. So now we can break these up into intervals. So if we look, how many data points fall between 0.4 and 0.59? Well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now notice I did include the 0.59 because it was included in the interval. So there's 8 that fall into that frequency. Then we have from 0.6 to 0.79. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that fall into that one. Then here we have from 0.8 to 0.99, we have 1, 2. Then we have from 1 to 1.19, we have 1, 2, 3. And then from 1.2 to 1.39, we have 1. So this is how you would create a frequency table. Now that we've created our frequency table, we can now create a bar graph or a histogram to represent this data. So if we do that, we would have our interval from 0.4 to 0.59, and we draw a bar that goes up to 8 because that was our frequency. Then here, from 0.6 to 0.79, we would go up to 6 and then back down. And then we'd have a frequency of 2 here, 3 here, and 1 here. So this is just a graphical way to represent our frequency table. Let's look at another example. So again, we look at the win totals here, and we're going to put them in order from least to greatest. So we have 15, 19, 26, 27, and so on. So we put these in order. And then once we have them in order, we can now create a frequency table here. So how many fall between 10 and 19? Well, there's 1, 2. From 20 to 29, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. From 30 to 39, there's just 1. And then from 40 to 49, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this would be our frequency table for the Western Conference. Now that we've created our frequency table, now we can create a histogram to represent it. So if we do that, we have our interval from 10 to 19. And notice we go up to 2, because that was our frequency. Then from 20 to 29, we go up to 5, and then 1, and then 7. So this is what our graph would look like for our histogram. Now, types of histogram distributions. So the first one is symmetric. So notice it forms almost like a U shape. So when we create our graph, it should look kind of like this, and it may not be a perfect U. Notice that this one is definitely lower than this one, right? So it's not perfect, but it's kind of close. So it forms generally this U shape here. So that's a symmetric one. Uniformed one is where they're almost all the same length. So all the way across, they're almost all exactly the same. Now that one might be a little lower, but they're almost all the same. And then skewed is where the data is really low on one side and really high on the other. So it could go here and up, or it could go start high and then come low. Those are skewed graphs. Now, what are box and whisker plots? So box and whisker plots look like this. So we have a box, and then there's usually a line inside of the box like this, and then it has these 2 points that come and extend out from there. So box and whisker plots represent data in a graphical way. The point on the far left, this one here, is the minimum value. So that is the bottom edge of the range. The point on the far right is the maximum value, or the largest number in the set. The line in the middle of the box, so this one is the median. And then the left side right here, we call that the first quartile, and we call this one the third quartile. So let's look at this set of data, and we need to find the minimum and maximum. So the minimum and maximum are the highest number and lowest number. So if we do that, we arrange these from least to greatest, and our lowest number is 40, and our highest number is 49. So the minimum is 40, and our maximum is 49. So when we start our plot, it should look like this. It should have an endpoint at 40 and an endpoint at 49. Then we need to find the median. So the median is the middle. Remember, in order to find the median, we're going to put them in order from least to greatest and then start crossing them out on each side until we get to the middle. So we have 40, 40, 40, 41, 43, 44, 49. So we cross them out from each side. So we cross out 40 and 49, 40 and 44, 40 and 43, and we're left with 41. So 41 is our median. So we're going to go here to 41, which is somewhere over here, and we're going to draw a little line right there to say that that is our median. Now we need to figure out how to find the quartiles. So the way this works is the first quartile is the median of the first half of the numbers. So once we found the median was 41, we're going to look at just the numbers on the other side of 41. So we put them in order and we cross out until we reach the middle. So we have our whole data set, but really our median was 41. So we don't care about anything on this side. It's just these numbers that are left of this. So we have 40, 40, and 40. So now we're going to go ahead and find the median of that set. So we cut this one, and we're left with just 40. So 40 is our first quartile. So we're going to go here to 40, and we're going to draw our line right there. So there's the edge of our box. There's our median. Now we need to find the other edge of this box. And we do that by finding the third quartile. So it's found exactly the same way, except we're going to look at just the right side of the median. So we put them in order from least to greatest. Here's our median, 41. So we're just going to look at the right side. So this is 43, 44, and 49. Then we cross out on each side until we get to the middle, and we're left with 44 as our median. So that becomes our third quartile. So we're going to go here to 44, draw our line in there, and then we just box it in. So this would be our box and whisker plot for this set of data. Now there's a video here that shows you how to check your work when trying to find the points for the box and whisker plot using Symbolab. So go ahead and watch that video now. Let's take a look now at how we can use Symbolab to check our work when dealing with the quartiles of a box and whisker plot. So let's say we have a set of data like 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 9, 10. So let's say that's our data set. And we're going to go to Symbol Lab and then go to where it says lower quartile calculator. So we typed in our data set. It says lower quartile first, and we're going to go ahead and click Go. And it tells us that our lower quartile, or our first quartile, should be 2.5. And it shows us step by step how to get there. So it took half of them, the first half, and then found the median of those, which is 2.5. Now let's say we want the third quartile. All we're going to do is change this word from lower to upper. So we type in upper and go ahead and put Go. And it tells us that the third quartile, or the upper quartile, should be 9. And it shows us the steps of how to get there. So this is how you can check your work when trying to find the quartiles of a box and whisker plot using Symbol Lab. Let's take a look now at the statistics review assignment. The assignment begins with the learning goals and success criteria. If we scroll down, we can see the questions. It says, given the data set below, what is the mode of the set of numbers? Well, we can see that we have 37, 42, 48, 51, 52, 53, 54, 54, and 55. So which ones appear twice? Well, only 54 appears twice, so that's our mode. So we go ahead and mark that as our answer. Then we'll scroll down and take a look at another one. This one says, what is the median of the set of numbers? So we would start crossing these out until we reach the middle. So 7 and 195. Then we'd go 91 and 121. Then 91 and 109. Then 102 and 107. And we're left with just 107. So that would be our median. And then we'd continue to answer all of these questions until we get to the end of the assignment. Once you get to the end of the assignment, go ahead and click Next. This will take you to your Before You Go. Go ahead and fill out your Before You Go and then submit your work on Google Classroom.